Hey everybody, today I am squaring up half square triangles. So you see I have a big pile here of half square triangles that I need to square up for a quilt that I'm making. It's a lot, it's going to take a while. This is a beautiful quilt, but it takes a long time to piece it together. So I've got a couple of stacks here. So what I'm doing is I'm doing one block at a time so it doesn't become so overwhelming. So actually 2 blocks. So I've got enough here to do 1 block, and I'm cutting the last piece to do 2 blocks. And I'll stop and sew these together. Then I'll come back and pull out some more. But what I want to share with you today is how I'm squaring up my half square triangles. So the half square triangle that I've made is larger than I need. I need to cut these down to 2 3/4 of an inch, and they're a little over 3 inches. And some people, people do this different ways. Some people will tell you just to, go ahead and you use this 45-degree angle on your ruler, if you can see that line right there, and line it up against the pattern of your half square triangle. So some people will go ahead and find that 2 3/4 inch measurement and just cut one side and then cut the dog ear that's left on the other side. But I don't do it that way. The way I do it, it takes a little more time, but to me, I have much nicer squared pieces. So what I do is for my very first cut, so I put my ruler on that line, so you got to find that line, and I make my first cut larger than what I need. So as long as I'm cutting off something on both sides, I can make this nice and square on both sides and get rid of my dog ears at the same time. So bear with me, I'm doing this one-handed. So I'm going to cut my first 2 sides carefully. It's hard to do this with one hand. All right, and then I'm going to take my piece after I've cut that first side, because these 2 edges are now square, and I'm going to turn it. And you don't have to use the lines on your mat because you're using the lines strictly on your ruler. So now that I've turned it and I've got 2 square sides, I'm going to put my ruler back, and now I'm going to find that 2 3/4 inch measurement on my ruler on my square sides. So let me line it up here so I can show you. So if you can see, I've got the 45-degree angle on the line, and I've got 2 3/4 of an inch on both of my sides. So now I'm going to cut those 2 sides, and I will have a nice square piece. I like doing it this way. I like cutting on both sides because sometimes, if you're like me, you're not a perfect sewer, you're not a perfect quilter, but your quilts are more perfect if your cut pieces are more perfect. So this helps me just kind of make my pieces a little more perfect. Not perfect. I know Jenny Doan from Missouri Star Quilt Company says finished is better than perfect, and that is so true because we're never going to be perfect. But you want your squares to end up as perfect as you can get them. So now I have a perfectly square 2 3/4 inch half square triangle that will make my finished square so much nicer. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I will show you a piece. So let me see. So this is what I'm making. I'm making the Lemoyne Star, Hunter Star, whatever you want to call it. People call it different things, and they get bent out of shape if you don't call it what they think it's supposed to be called. I don't care about that. It's a Hunter Star quilt. So this is a finished piece, and it's not perfect. My points aren't perfect, but they're pretty close. And cutting my half square triangles this way helps me make my finished pieces so much nicer. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that any tips that I share with you are helpful. These are just things I've figured out on my own. I didn't have anybody to teach me how to quilt. I didn't grow up sewing and quilting. I started this journey about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's become a passion for me. I love creating. I love making stuff. I watch a lot of videos to learn techniques and learn how to do things, but you can watch someone else do something and you try to follow their technique, but then you have to make it your own. You have to figure out how to do it in a way that works for you. So I hope what I show you is helpful. I hope you can take what I show you and learn something new from it and then figure out how to do it your own way. So thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.